My name is Andre. They say that at 18, you're supposed to be invincible. You're supposed to have the whole world at your feet, just waiting for you to make your move. But 2 years ago, I felt like a ghost haunting my own life. I was a student in a small town, and my entire world was the size of a cramped dorm room. I weighed exactly 67 kilograms. I was nothing but skin and bone, fueled by cheap coffee and a naive belief that if you give someone your whole heart, the math of life guarantees you the same in return. I was the nice guy. The one who stayed up until 3 a.m. helping her with her projects. The one who worked double shifts at a warehouse just to buy her the things she accidentally showed me on her screen. I thought I was building a foundation. I thought if I gave her 100% of me, I'd get 100% loyalty back. But life isn't an equation. It's a market. And in that market, I was being traded for pennies. The turning point happened on a Tuesday. I had finished a shift so grueling my hands were shaking from exhaustion. I came home early to surprise her with her favorite dinner. But the door wasn't fully closed. I heard her voice from the hallway. She was on a call with her sister. She said, "Andre, he's safe. He's like a placeholder on a shelf. He's sweet, but he's static. He has no gravity. I'm just staying until I find someone who actually moves the world. Someone with a real car, a real pulse, a real future. For now, he's just convenient." I didn't storm in. I didn't scream. I stood there holding a bag of cold food and realized I wasn't her boyfriend. I was her waiting room. I walked out, went to the nearest park, and sat in the dark for 4 hours. That night, the boy who believed in fairness died. The architect was born. The next morning, I vanished. No breakup text. No drama. I blocked her on every platform. I moved to a different city, rented a room that smelled like old paper and ambition, and went into ghost mode. I made a vow. I would not return to the world until I was unrecognizable. Till my life became a brutal algorithm. Step one was physical dominance. I hated being a 67-kilogram boy. I felt like a leaf in the wind. I started training like a man possessed. I forced down 4,000 calories a day. Every rep in the gym was a strike against my old self. I watched my body transform muscle by muscle until the scale hit 75 kilograms of solid, functional power. I didn't just want to be big. I wanted to look like I was built to survive a war. Step two was financial sovereignty. I spent 16 hours a day staring at charts. I learned the rhythm of the markets. I launched a YouTube channel for the Western market, teaching myself English through trial and error, recording hundreds of takes until my accent sounded like authority. I was working while my old friends were partying. I was coding while Sasha was probably laughing with the upgrade she thought she deserved. I failed constantly. I lost money. I sat in my dark room during blackouts, lit by a single battery-powered lamp, writing scripts for videos that I didn't know if anyone would ever watch. But I had one thought that kept me going. One day, they will have to look up just to see my shadow. 18 months later, I wasn't just Andre the student anymore. I was the head of an investment group that was quietly moving into the tech and marketing sector. We were looking for acquisitions, and then I saw it in the reports on my desk. A mid-sized firm struggling with debt based in my old city. The employee list was long, but one name stood out. Sasha. She was a junior account manager, and her upgrade, the guy she left me for, he was a senior manager at the same firm. I didn't feel anger. I felt a cold professional curiosity. My group bought the firm in a week. On my first day as a new owner, I didn't drive my old beat-up car. I arrived in a vehicle that cost more than my old warehouse job would pay in a decade. I walked into the lobby, 75 kilograms of confidence wrapped in a tailored suit. When I entered the conference room, the air vanished. Sasha was there, her eyes widening as she saw me. She dropped her tablet. It hit the floor with a crack that sounded like a gunshot. She whispered my name, her voice trembling, but I didn't look at her. I sat at the head of the table and spent 2 hours dismantling their quarterly reports. I showed them exactly where they were failing. I showed them how their senior management, the guy she chose over me, had been wasting the company's resources. After the meeting, she followed me to my office. She didn't knock. She burst in, tears in her eyes. "Andre, I knew you'd make it. I always knew you had this in you. I made such a mistake. I was just confused. That guy, he's not you. Can we talk? Can we go back to how it was? I've missed you every single day." I looked at her. I saw the girl I used to love, but she looked small. She looked like a memory fading away. I told her, "I don't dine with employees who underperform, and I certainly don't go back to placeholders. You're fired, Sasha, and take your upgrade with you. You two were made for each other. Bankrupt and stagnant." As security let her out, she screamed that I was a monster, that I had planned this all along, that I was obsessed. I sat back in my chair, looking at the city skyline. And this is where the story gets complicated. You think this is a story about revenge? You think I just got lucky and bought the right company at the right time? Think again. Remember the mysterious investor who started shorting that marketing firm 6 months ago, driving their stock price into the ground and forcing them into a debt crisis? That wasn't a stranger. That was me. But it goes deeper. 2 years ago, when I accidentally heard Sasha calling me a placeholder through the door, I didn't just happen to come home early. I had planted a recording device in the living room a week before. Why? Because I already knew. I had seen the texts, I had seen the way she looked at him, but I didn't leave then. I stayed for 7 more days. I acted the part of the nice guy for another week. I needed to hear her say those exact words. I needed that specific trauma. I needed the placeholder speech to be the fuel for the engine I was about to build. I engineered my own heartbreak to ensure I would never settle for a normal life again. I wasn't the victim of her betrayal. I was the architect of it. I knew her upgrade was a fraud. I knew he was skimming money from the firm. I didn't report him. I waited until I owned the company to expose him so I could crush him legally and financially in one move. And here's the final twist, the one that keeps me awake at night. Yesterday, I received an anonymous email. It was a link to a private cloud drive. Inside was a video. It was a recording of me from 2 years ago, sitting in that park in the dark after hearing her talk. But the camera angle, it was from a drone I didn't own. The video ended with a text overlay. The 67-kilogram boy had to die so the 75-kilogram man could lead. You're welcome, Andre. The next phase begins tomorrow. I looked at the sender's address. It was an encrypted server I had built myself, but I hadn't sent that email. I realized then that I wasn't the only architect in this game. Somewhere out there, there's another version of the plan, or maybe, just maybe, I'm still in the park. And everything you've just heard, the millions, the CEO title, the revenge, is just a simulation my brain is running to cope with the fact that she's still in that room, laughing at me. My name is Andre. I weigh 75 kilograms. Or at least that's what the screen tells me. Am I the boss? Or am I just the ultimate placeholder in a much larger game? Don't believe everything you see on a screen, especially when it looks like a success story. Because sometimes the only way to win is to realize you've already lost.